Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Nice and roomy.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. It is the current, reigning, defending, unarguably the number one show on True Frequency Radio on Monday nights between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. I'm your host, Jaron from Jeranism, and joining me, you all know him quite well, is David Weiss. David, how are you? Did you catch that?
Very good opening. Thank you. Yeah, got it. Well done.
I see you took your small hat off for tonight's show. Also joining us is the great, the wonderful, shout out to the Bears out there, and of course to Owen Benjamin. Owen, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks. That small hat joke just made me genuinely laugh. That was great.
Well, yeah, you've done a lot for me, and it's great to talk to you finally. It's awesome when you listen to somebody all the time. I listen to you pretty much daily. Gotten quite a few laughs out of you, and learned a lot from you, so it's great to finally have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to be on a show where someone's willing to talk about how fascinating Antarctica is.
Yes, it is. Try and go there, see what happens. How do you like the shirt, Owen? I don't know if you can see the shirt. NASA going nowhere since 1958. Yeah, there you go.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, that's your documentary.
Yeah, I got that coming out soon. So Saturday the 20th. So yeah, it's exciting. Thanks for shouting that out. Appreciate that.
Of course, yeah, I'll shout it out on my stream when it comes out. I'm excited to see it because I know about a lot of deceptions 69 onwards. I don't know about 58. That sounds fascinating.
Well, that's when NASA came into being, and it's the same. It coincides with them blocking off Antarctica, so all that stuff ties in exactly the same time. It's the same time they started launching nukes at the sky. I think they realized they couldn't go anywhere and had to make NASA to be basically a never-ending mind control. You talked about it a little bit today on your show.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they just let it go, though? I don't think that many people really want to just hurl themselves at a dome. Like, why not just not address it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, kind of if you watch my trailer, they talk, John Kennedy talks about once you've thrown your hat over the wall, you have no choice but to follow it. And I think that once he announced all this stuff, we're going to do all these things, we're going to go to these places. Once you've thrown your hat over that wall, you have no choice but to follow it. How do you tell everybody, oh, by the way, we can't go where we said we could go. We can't do what we said we could do. We spent all this money on it, and sorry, guys, you can't do it. It's just not going to be something they do.
Especially with that powerful rhetoric, He's like, I say we go to the moon.
Right.
We go to the moon. It's when you get people that jacked up, it's like Martin Luther King Jr. was like, black men and white girls, little Jews and Gentiles. Like, no one's backing out at that point.
No, he's a great speaker.
Do you think that JFK knew it was nonsense, or do you think he really – because they also sent a probe to Venus around the same time, and no one really talks about old Venus.
No, I mean, I'll talk about it in my movie, but Kennedy was not a space guy. Didn't even care about space. He thought it was important to – if they would have told him – I mentioned it yesterday – if they would have told him that they wouldn't have been able to go till 69, he wouldn't have cared. The thing was, originally they told him they'd be able to do it in 66 or 67, so he was thinking it was going to be in his second term. So I think it's just a matter of getting public opinion. He wanted everyone to find something they could get behind, but he's even said before he could care less about space or couldn't care less about it.
He was a meth guy.
Right.
But didn't Von Braun say that they would need a rocket or a rocket the size of the Empire State Building and refuel and stuff in like the late 50s? Like, wasn't that on the table? So didn't he he didn't look into it at all? Or I just don't get how that works.
Rockets get to the point where once they get a certain size, the amount of fuel you have on makes it just too heavy to even take off, no matter how much fuel you have. So it's all nonsense, no matter how you look at it.
Well, that's when the meth kicks in, where they're like, more fuel!
Right.
Where people are like, yeah, but then there's diminishing returns. He's like, I can't feel my face!
Right. Yeah, he's just chattering his teeth the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how human a lot of this is. It's just people,
Right.
saying I'm going to get something at the grocery store, and then you can't, and then you make up a story. It's really not that far-fetched at all when you realize how just human it is about people making promises that they can't fulfill, and then they just lie for 50 years on the taxpayers'
Yeah,
dollars.
it seems they just keep going back and forth, between president. Every president changes it up. Bush Sr. comes in and says, no, we're going to go to Mars. Obama comes in, no, we'll go back to the moon. It just keeps going back and forth. And now you got Trump kind of saying both. He's just, in one breath, he says we should go to Mars. In the next breath, it's, well, we should go back to the moon. You got Pence telling everybody that if we can't go back to the moon by 2024, that it's time to change the administration, not change the mission. So, but again, I think that coincides perfectly with the timing of 2024. Will be right when Trump's coming out of his second term, and it'll be passed on to the next president. Again, NASA will be behind schedule. NASA won't be able to come up with the they'll say, oh, we're behind on budget. They'll get more money. It'll be pushed into the next presidency, whoever takes over after 2024. So it's just an inevitable thing.
At this point, when people say, oh, we're going back, I'm like, that's as if your dad goes to get milk, and 40 years later, he's not back, and you're like, he's coming back. It's like,
he's coming back.
He's gone. Right. And Trump's the first president to kind of troll NASA a little. When he's like, stand up, Buzz.
Right.
Like he's kind of winking at the American people, like, take a bow, Buzz.
Right.
He knows Buzz is hammered, and just, I think he's, because when Obama at that one reception was like, here, we got Donald Trump. He's like, he's probably wondering about, did we fake the moon landing?
Right.
And mockery used to disguise truth is always, as a comedian, I can see just right through that. And Trump was sitting there like, it doesn't add up. I really think that he's the first president we've ever had that is kind of openly saying this is nonsense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I think he's done that's kind of piggybacked off the space idea is the Space Force, which, of course, is just a way to get more people to sign up to give their lives away in wars that we didn't start, obviously, us being, the United States obviously started them, but sending your kids to die for those guys who obviously are up to no good. But I think that the Space Force, it just gets more people involved, right? I mean, more people now coming out of college or coming out of high school are going to be like, oh, man, I want to be in the military because I can be part of the Space Force. And it will just be something that never materializes. It's just more people that go into the Army, more people go into the Navy. They can just bring them in, tell them, hey, yeah, you can join the Space Force, get them trained up, get them through training, and then send them off to another branch and say, oh, sorry, Space Force isn't going to be here for a little while. It's just an excuse to get more people.
The military-industrial complex has jumped the ship, though, where that I don't think it'll work like you just described because it sounds retarded. It's to the point where it's like, Space Force, and people are like,
yeah.
What? It's just, I mean, after 9/11, I bought the lie. I almost wanted to, I wanted to join the military to pay back the evildoers. Like, I was there. But that was such a different time than now. Like now, I used to watch CNN for the news. Like I used to be like, this is all real.
Right.
And so now the amount of people that still do that, I think Russia collusion and a few of these other ones have taken this message to the 9-digit amount of people in America. Like I think there's at least 100 million people that is like Anderson Cooper is a liar.
Right.
And I think that alone will help people. And the narrative of 19 hijackers go to Staples to get weapons and do something no pilots have ever done, and then now we're in Iraq for 20 years. You have to be like a gerbil at this point to be like, that checks out. And so that's why I don't think Space Force. I think Space Force almost is more of a situation where it's like trying to buy the 3 dimensions of territory, where who owns what's above you, who owns. I think part of it has to do with almost like how we're losing control of the seas a little bit because drones can take out a aircraft carrier, which would fundamentally change the power dynamic of the whole world. So now I think we're trying to figure something else out with the 3 dimensions, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just think millennials, man, when they hear the idea of space, they just, they love that idea, and they're going to hear Space Force, and it's just going to be more reason for them to sign up to go give their lives for space and go to space, and then they'll just get there. They'll get through training and realize, oops, Can't do it. You said something interesting today. And by the way, to people who are watching the show, it is July 15th. We are on the eve of the 50th anniversary of the greatest hoax to ever be portrayed on mankind. But, I was listening to your stream. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday, but you said somebody wanted to debate you on the moon landings, and I thought your answer was great. You said, hell no, why do I want to talk to somebody that thinks we went to the moon? It's that simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
It's nonsense.
That is my new litmus test. If
Right.
somebody believes in the moon landing, I'm not willing to talk to you about flat Earth or almost
Right.
anything. If you can't get by that, you're a Mr. Smith in my mind.
Yeah, it's so preposterous that why would I waste my time with that? With flat Earth, it's like right now it's almost like I just got divorced and I'm shopping around. That's why I keep calling it a realm, because it's blatantly not a spinning ball. That's obvious.
Right.
And I love the way you put it. It's definitely not a spinning ball. I don't know what it is. It's some
Right.
sort of realm. That is the perfect answer. That is really our answer.
It's
I think
9/11. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of evidence points to flat. I'm going, it's some sort of flat realm. I don't know anything past that. You asked me today, you said, what do you think that we can get past Antarctica or through Antarctica? And my answer is, even if they allowed us to, if it said, all right, go ahead, you're going to go into darkness, into cold, you got no food, you got no fuel, the logistics of doing it. And then how far do you go before you hit a crevasse or a mountain? Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Isn't that right, Jaron?
Yeah.
So it's the highest land on Earth.
Wow.
So the air, it's the outside of the shoreline of the Earth pond. And you're climbing a mountain in the dark, in the cold with no food. How far are you going to get? Unless the dome, if there is a dome, is right there. It's not something that logistically is easy to do, and I think it's designed that way.
Well, I think it's part of the reason why they hide free energy and why they can't let us have those ideas. Because if you had free energy, then all of a sudden we could just get in a plane and go south. Just go. But the problem is you can't do that right now because your plane needs to have enough fuel to get to wherever you're planning on landing. So they've blocked that too. You can't get in a boat. I don't know if you know this, Owen, but you can't go below 60 degrees south with any stored fuel. So even if you went down south in a boat, you basically have your gas tank full. You can't go anywhere. You can't even try and circumnavigate Antarctica unless you've got government permission.
Time to cut the fluoride, boys, and start innovating.
Right.
Yeah, but I like your point, because it's very important that people understand that they can do that, because some people get they almost salivate when a deception has been revealed, and then they want to assign blame or say what is. And it's like with 9/11, like when you get to the dancing Israelis or something like that, so many people looked at me as if I was about to condemn the hats of small, and I'm not at all, because one thing I've learned is, especially high-level wizardry, I think people assume that I want to condemn small hats, and I have zero interest at all. Because then there may be, black nobility and blah, blah, blah. It's a never-ending fractal thing. So there's so much, I don't want to use the word power, but of just saying, I don't know.
Right.
Of just saying 9/11 is an insane deception. And since I've already been wrong that it ended with Cheney and Bush, and then you go to various other things, and then you start seeing Tesla stuff, and you're like, I don't know. Like, it's not a spinning ball. Antarctica is either the edge of the Earth or a realm that we can get past. I have no idea. That could be where things start going like this, or it could be, it's almost unlimited what it could be.
Right. Their
And
deceptions
so
I was going to say their deceptions are meant to keep us guessing. No one's ever going to figure out what happened at 9/11. You're just not going to figure it out.
Ever.
No, it's been made that way. And I think the same thing with flat Earth is that they've hidden so much and blocked so much. There's no way someone's just going to stumble upon it and say, "Oh, okay, here's the answer." No, it's just so. And I totally agree with what you're saying about condemning small hats. It's more about condemning the actions of people. Condemn the right. Condemn those who are being sneaky.
It's breaking the shield of you can't condemn someone who is a small hat. All Dalmatians are dogs, not all dogs are Dalmatians. It's a logic fallacy that's set up on purpose to hide what I'm starting to believe to be very evil people pretending to be small hats. Like, for example, no one to me is more anti-small hat than a Ben Shapiro, because he's basically saying if you're against genocide, you're anti-Semitic. And I'm like, you are now tying the Jewish people to some of the worst things in the world, which isn't true at all.
Right.
And so it's a very backwards, upside down world.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Go ahead, Dave.
One of the things that I've really been enjoying on your streams is that you've just completely put away with the negativity. Negativity is just going to make you live in a negative world. And you've taken everything and really made it positive, focusing on the positive stuff. And if everybody did that, the world would be a positive place. And it's easily done. So I appreciate the example that you're setting for so many young men out there.
Absolutely.
And women. And it's enjoyable to watch. We've been watching your awakening to the globe deception in real time. We all went through it a few years ago, and it's been so enjoyable watching you go through this with your comedic spin on everything, because it is funny.
I've actually really enjoyed a lot of the Flat Earth people's encouragement over this time, because I think they got to relive some of their emotions through me, because I just do 3-hour streams and talk without any real point sometimes. And so when something hit me, like the curve in the White House and stuff like that, and just being like, oh, I do not want to be one of these people, you know?
Right.
And that feeling of like, man, I don't want to be seen as this crazy, but I don't back down from reality. And so then I think it's been very enjoyable for people, and they've just been very it's the opposite of the other world of people, where they expect everyone to be a brand and to come into this world knowing everything and reciting everything. And, there's one way to think, and to watch someone just grow and change and be stressed and figure out, rules of engagement with online personalities. A lot of us have went through this, and I think I've just been very open about my struggles that a lot of us have went through. Like, okay, the way someone's acting, I would fight in real life, but it could be a robot. It's like these things are crazy. And so how to keep your life, not to have the despair of everyone's lying, and to focus on what is real, which is in our world,
Right. Yeah, that's why I love that you say that the Earth could possibly be a realm, because it's the way a lot of us feel, and we just feel that it's a created place. It's created by a creator. We're here for a reason. We're here with a purpose, and that's all been stolen. And so once you gain that much knowledge back, then you have an open plate where we can do exactly what you're doing, which is explore, think about things. I mean, I remember the streams where you were talking about, well, how did the plane, what if a balloon gets up out of the atmosphere? At what point does the Earth go running away from it? And it's, it's the things that we've all struggled with, where when you first come to it and you're thinking, well, it can't possibly be anything other than a ball. And then slowly, when you start trying to prove to yourself that it is, that's how you become at least a globe Earth skeptic, to where you're like, wait a second, a lot of this just seems like lies and things we've accepted since schooling. And we know that they're lying to us.
It's like when you get your arm out of a cast, and at first it's like all emaciated and weak, and then the first tingles start coming back, and you're just like, I can get strong again, And it's very exciting when you realize that you can have the wide eyes of a child again and look at the world the way it is, and that Stephen Hawking robot voice emptiness of the world from that demonic, monstrous mind that I believe he was dead for 30 years. Yeah. And so anyway, that world of like infinite emptiness, and you're just a result of atoms and genitals banging together pointlessly, is so dark that when you realize that you are created out of love and that you're in this world for a reason, it's way better. And so when people are scared of it, it's almost like that never-ending story mirror, where unless you're willing to face yourself, you can't get through it.
So many flat earthers, including myself, I was evolution, there is no God, slightly spiritual, whatever you want to call that.
Right.
And I was doing my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast. Then I found out about flat Earth, did what everyone else did. It laughed. People wouldn't minute video. Finally, I was forced to look, and then I realized, wow, it's not a spinning ball. Then all of a sudden it came to me, it's created, it's intelligently designed.
Yes.
And my life has changed since then. I mean, everything has changed
for the better.
For the better, yeah.
100%. So amazing, and every day gets better and better.
And there's a camaraderie between people that are willing to admit nonsense, because we all know what we've been through with the Thanksgiving table. So there's almost like this trust that's formed where it's like, oh, you can admit that Buzz Aldrin's a liar. Oh, so you've faced it. And I think a lot of it comes from the moon landing, because it's so preposterous that if you just take that little glimpse, when I first heard Eddie Bravo on Joe Rogan, I thought he was a raving lunatic. Like, when he's talking about, when Joe Rogan's like, how do they keep it? All those arguments made sense to me at the time, where it's like, how did so many people keep the secret, Eddie? He's like, I'm like, yeah, how did? And then you realize that Manhattan Project was the same thing, and they brag about how many people kept the secret. Right. And you're like, well, they can compartmentalize that, but they can compartmentalize anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just easy. And I've even talked to, technicians that work at NASA who just flat out admit that it's all compartmentalized. There's no way anybody would know. And it could be a simulation. All those guys sitting at consoles could very easily be just dealing with a simulation. They would have no idea that any of it was real, or that it wasn't real.
Jaron brings up a great point on the Saturn V rockets that NASA subbed out to, they needed 15,000 parts, and they went to, 15,000 different companies to get the parts, which makes no sense. If you're going to do that, you're going to give a lot to one company, but they went out there so everyone could say, my uncle, my father worked on the set.
Wow.
Right. Oh, yeah. They spread it out. I think it's something
brilliant.
Like 400,000 people.
Bit.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little. Bad internet. No. No, they spread it out to like 400,000 people, and if you do that in a country the size that it was in 1969, then everybody knew somebody who worked on some part of it. So, I always talk about if somebody says, because I've got yelled at all the time, but my grandpa worked on the Saturn V. Well,
He made the O-ring.
Right.
He made the hinge.
Right.
He made the hatch. He made the chair.
Our response to that is, I'm like, then your grandpa had a lot of dirty secrets. What I do as a comedian, because I learned this on stage, and it's so ironic that people say, like, I have thin skin. It's like, my skin's so thick when it comes to words and rhetoric that it's pretty mind-blowing because of what I performed at biker bars to the O2 Arena in London, and I've had people say everything under the sun. And so when people want to do that whole, like, it's the same with, like, John McCain. It's like, John McCain was a war hero. Right. I'm like, John McCain was a sicko who liked getting poked in a cage.
Right.
And people are like, what? And I will just flip that. It's like, then your grandpa, it's like, then how did your grandpa not put it together? What an idiot.
Right.
And then that it's laughable. I'm not actually attacking someone's grandfather because I've never met them, but it's just like, it's kind of the same when someone's like, I am a victim, so you're not allowed to have, to not give your kids vaccines or something. It's like, it's just like, dude, that's not going to work on me to the point where I will invert it and use it as a weapon. It's like, your grandfather probably raped a bunch of chicks. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, that's why he was so secretive about the moon mission.
Right.
It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, don't bring that to me. Don't bring that rhetoric. My dad teaches rhetoric. He might as well have taught at Hogwarts. Like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like if somebody said they drove a car across the Pacific Ocean to Hawaii, and I said, that's bullshit. Nobody drove a car to Hawaii. And then they said, well, my uncle worked on the muffler of that car. I was like, well, great. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
It's even more preposterous, though. That's more likely.
It's more likely.
That's more likely. Yeah, the moon has a shadow of 70 miles.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it's not even a moon. So at least the ocean is something that you could build a bridge on.
Right.
Like, you could have a engine
Blaine
get
planks.
5,000 miles a gallon. That's at least in the realm of possibilities. The moon, it's kind of like when people are now arguing, is Donald Trump's tweets racist or not? They're accepting the binary, which is the previous acceptance of that racism.
Right.
Like, what is that? It's the same with the moon. Can you land on the moon? Did we fake the moon landing? The assumption is moon. It's like, rather, you're now bickering over an idea that has now been planted in your head. It's like going up to a girl at a bar and saying, do you want to have sex with or without a condom? And she's like, with. And it's like, without. It's like, well, you've just agreed to sex.
Right.
It's like, dude,
absolutely.
The sales technique.
So, yeah, Owen, we're coming up on a pretty large moon, full moon, the next couple of days, or I think it's actually might even be tomorrow. When the moon is up and there's some clouds in the sky at night, take a look and you'll see that the moon lighting up just the clouds that are next to it, and all of the other clouds are going to be in the darkness. That can only happen with a local light. So I believe that the moon that we see is literally just above the clouds. Now, if you went up in an airplane above the clouds, the moon's going to look higher to you because you see it relative to your position. But just ignoring that, just look at it, look at the clouds around the moon, and you'll see that it's lit up, and try to recreate that with a distant light. That moon should be lighting up all of the clouds if it was far away.
Right. It appears to be something that creates the light, because even if you put if you take a light bulb and put tape on half of it, it just makes the room dimmer. It doesn't make half a shadow. It appears like light is coming from it. I don't understand though how it doesn't appear larger than if you go up in an airplane. Do you know how does that work?
Yeah, it's an interesting
I
one.
think in an airplane it always looks a lot smaller, right?
Yeah, why is that?
I think that the moon
we got a break. Let's
we're
talk
gonna have
about
to do it right after the break. 3-minute break.
We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw.
Comes with cost, a price to life, as if we're really just born to die. I'd rather laugh in the morning. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio. From December.
Frank O'Connor, the Irish writer, tells in one of his books how, as a boy, he and his friends would make their way across the countryside. And when they came to an orchard wall that seemed too high, too doubtful to try, and too difficult to permit their voyage to continue, they took off their hats and tossed them over the wall. And then they had no choice but to follow them, to follow them. This nation has tossed its cap over the wall of space, and we have no choice but to follow it.
Become the capital of a scientific, technological elite.
We choose to go to the moon.
The dream of conquering the vastness of space.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room in the White House.
Cooperation in space.
10 years ago, put a man on the moon.
And we're going there to stay. A manned mission to Mars.
Around the moon.
Human missions to Mars.
Man to the moon, to Mars.
Ultraviolet light. Retired former Apollo astronauts and cosmonauts now tell their stories of their own personal UFO encounters.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
right, welcome back. You were listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. I'm Jaron from Jeranism. With me, David Weiss, as always, and now we've got an air of respectability, an air of authority with us, Owen Benjamin. Everyone pay attention.
Hi, everybody. I just, to help people make the transition, sometimes it's important to wear the proper jacket. So,
right,
wearing the priest coat.
Dr. Benjamin, I have a question. One of Jaron's patrons, we'll call him JQ, brought up today. He said that according to you guys, the equator bulges 14 miles higher. The Earth bulges 14 miles higher at the equator, which is 5 times or 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Okay, where is the best viewing spot of that bulge?
That question is anti-Semitic.
All right, let me further the question. If a plane takes off from the equator and flies to the pole, it has to go down 13 miles. At what point does it do that?
Oh, the galaxies and the stars in the sky.
All right. Last question is, why isn't the air thinner at the equator if it's 14 miles high?
We are going to Mars.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good answer. Good answer.
Those are good answers.
We have some super chats real quick.
We need $58 million a day to continue doing these awesome answers.
Oh, boy. I'll keep giving. I guess it comes out of my taxes automatically. I don't even have a choice, do I? Real quick on the super chats, we have Rhino says 3 epic dudes in one spot. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. JPBGGB says 3 rockets that size. I think he's talking about maybe Werner von Braun said we need 3 rockets the size of the Empire State Building. I don't remember. Henry Oliver, thank you very much. Justin says great stream. James Dearman says to truly understand who we are and where we are, you must go back to the beginning. Research esoteric, Gnostic, and Hermetic teachings, Nikola Tesla, and symbology. We got Paraplegic Bear says BB and Jeranism both growing food and against ball-loving sodomites. Yeah, it's pretty true there. Colin Turner said stupendous work, Jaron, keep it up. Rhino says crushing. Ice Cream for Ice Ring says dearth. That's because the purpose built into the cosmic clockwork. People need the sun and moon even in a plane, so it remains higher interdimensional. And JG sent $2 with a note of $50. So I guess we can pretend it's $50, but it's actually $2. Of course you broke up when you were talking about the Flat Earth Sun and Moon Zodiac Clock app. Well, look at that. That is amazing. What's the video there in the corner? If it's not mine, I don't approve.
How does the moon get smaller, by the way? I don't want to lose that track we're on. I just want to know what Dave was saying.
So my answer, this is my belief, and then Jaron, you can give your opinion, is the moon, for lack of a better word, the real moon is projecting its image into our atmosphere. And as you go up, it's moving farther away. So it's in thinner air, and it's just smaller. That's how I see it. I really have no idea.
Like Wizard of Oz type thing, where it's
when the more atmosphere that you see it through, the more it's magnified. So when you go up and the air is thinner up there, there's less magnification.
That's why the biggest moon I've ever seen was in Hawaii, probably because it was, ocean level.
Right, or they say that the moon looks biggest at the horizon, which would be, of course, when you're looking through the most atmosphere. I don't know, but what is the ball answer for why it would get smaller when you go up higher if you're getting closer to it? I don't even know what the heliocentric nonsense. Thank you.
Sands of grains of sand in all the beaches of the world.
Yes, Carl Sagan for us. Thank you. We're just a speck of dust, and we're inconsequential, and all that fantastic stuff. So no, I don't know about that. But one of the things, Owen, that you've talked a lot about, we'll talk about it real quick, that I have to thank you for is, and David as well, but really planting your garden. That's something I've done for the first time this year. I can say it's because of you. I can say it's because of Dave. Bringing it back to home. You know, a year ago, my wife and I were afraid of having a child. And at this point now, we're considering it. And I, again, thank you about it because...
I love it.
Yeah. Well, and you give us that kind of oomph to go ahead and not be so afraid of, oh, man, this is such a shitty-ass world. Do I really want to bring a baby into this world? Well, no. If we create the home that we want the baby to have here, then it doesn't matter if the world's shitty. I'm not shitty. So, it's fine.
Exactly.
Right.
Because especially when you start unpeeling a lot of these lies, you start thinking like, oh, this world's full of lies. If you focus on your area, it's not at all like that.
Right.
You know, the seeds grow the way that you treat them. You know, your wife, your relationship is as good as you put into it. You know, your kids are having, like my wife, I've had a couple bouts with it, you know, where I'm like, I'm looking up at a chemtrail or something. I'm like, what is this world? And my wife's like, our kids have a better life than we had. And I'm like, true. You know, like our kids are playing with rabbits and ducks and healthy and running barefoot. I'm like, my childhood was avoiding pedophiles and hiding under my desk.
Right.
You know, it's like, it is what you make it. And it's like growing up, like there's most people when I was a kid believed fluoride was to give you a sparkly smile. You know, we have a well. You know, you're in more control than you know. It's like you got to take the ticket on a lot of this stuff where the evildoers make you pull the trigger at your own head. And I'm so happy that you're doing that because life is everything. You know, if you're against death, if you're against the lie, you got to be for something, not just against something. And that's why it's about growing. It's about, you know, if you think there's GMOs in your food, then grow your own food. If you think there's fluoride in your water, drill your own well.
Right. Oh, and do you ever wonder how many children you've inspired to be born? All of the people, all the super chats you get, people are saying they're having a kid because of you. I think to keep track of this, everybody that has a kid because of Owen should name their kid Owen.
I don't know.
More kids than all the grains of sand and all the beaches of the world. Yeah, no, I get it all the time, and that's one of the things that let me know that what I was doing wasn't what the trolls were telling me, that I wasn't a racist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, anti-Semitic, conspiracy theorist, lunatic monster, because it's like you're known by your fruits, and it's like if what I'm saying, even when I'm like in my backyard ranting with a mustache, if it's helping people have a family, it must be good.
Right.
And so, because there's a lot of times when the fog comes in, you guys know, where it's like you're talking about stuff and they come at you, try to make you feel and think you're stupid or crazy or something. And one thing that's gotten me through is obviously my family, my faith, my food, a lot of F's. But it's when people say, you know, I actually, you know, we're having a baby. And now it's in the thousands. And it's like people can just complain all they want about their problems. It's like, oh, if Trump isn't going to build a wall, then I'll build a fence. If you know, if they're going to keep pushing abortion, we're going to have more kids. It's like you have to be part of something. You can't just be against something. And I think that this whole world of like, that's why I love your app. I'll plug your app. You got that. It's like make something, show people another idea of what it could be, and then because one thing that is bad about the truth community sometimes is it removes everybody's institutions and everybody's ways of thinking, and it doesn't help you grow anything. And then people are like left in limbo. And I think it's important to be like, love. There's love in this world. There's food. There's babies. Like there's everything to live for.
Right. And I think you have the best answer on how to deal with those people that come into your stream and say anything like that, call you racist or whatever. Ban them for life. You don't need to, ban for life. You don't need to deal with that shit. There's so many people who love you, who write great comments, who are bears all the way through, and you just support them, call them out, and everybody else ban them. I totally agree. So that's a shout out to the
focus on what
mods.
you like, as you say. We quote you all the time.
All the time.
Besides focusing on what you like, support what you like, or what you like goes away.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's basically, and at this point, It's getting a lot easier. It's like, don't support what hates you. You know, at this point, it's not even, you know, like Netflix and some of this stuff. You turn on these shows like 13 Reasons Why, and it's trying to get your kid to kill themselves. It's not even like support what you like. It's like definitely don't support what wants you dead and diseased. You know, and when you do that, every action in your day gives you life. You know, it's like just hit the like button. It doesn't have to be big. If you like a video, I had to train myself to hit the like button because in my mind, I'm like, oh, other people hit the like button. You know, I started being like, I like it. I'll hit the like button. Oh, I have something to add. I'll add a comment. I don't have anything nice to say. I'll just move on.
Move on.
You know, and the more you do that, the more you feel, you know, in war, the infantry has so much more PTSD than the special forces simply because they're waiting for things to happen to them versus going. You know, I know special forces guys that have been involved in some of the worst horrors imaginable, but because they were engaged in a mission they don't have the PTSD of the people sitting in a bunker waiting for something to happen to them. And so many people are just waiting for 5G or waiting for whatever's going to come, and they're not doing anything. So they develop a form of victim mentality and PTSD. And so that's why I highly recommend you take action, even if it's the like button. Obviously nothing violent, obviously nothing negative, because that's what the yeast wants.
Right.
They want, vengeance is the Lord's. That's why, the Bible is so helpful, because it's so ancient. It couldn't have been corrupted by Google search algorithms.
No, and I love what you say, too, because it's just something I've practiced ever since I started my channel, which is I don't ever go on anybody else's stream and talk shit. I don't go into chats. Never.
I never do
and
that.
you don't do it either. And I just don't understand why the whole world can't be like that, where we support what we like. If I like your stream, I go watch it, I enjoy it, have a few laughs, watch something else I enjoy. If people like me, watch my show, have a few laughs, enjoy it, go about your merry way. Where do these losers come from? How much time do you have on your hands where you're just showing up to streams you don't like and just being an asshole all day? I don't understand it.
Before we went live, I was in the live chat, and Bob and I must have banned 20 people that were in here just hating it. And so I have a question for you, Owen. Since you're not funny and don't have anything interesting to say, how do you get 5,000 people to listen to you every day?
Right.
Well, the people that say I'm not funny or interesting are wrong, and they're banned for life.
Right.
No, but see, that's the thing. It's like, I think
well, that person's gone.
They're gone.
Banned for life.
Because I used to always think that my parents are teachers, so the teacher in me was like, I can reach these people if I argue with them or give a good point, and their goal isn't to learn. It's simply to get someone to react. And I know it's because of a lot of their upbringings. They can't be a paper boy. That job's been replaced. Most money is debt-based, so there's no – I know I'm sounding all over the map right now, but I was reading my kid this book called Busy Town, where it's a world that makes sense. You have the local tailor, the local printer, the local blacksmith, and all of that work has been taken from us. And we're supposed to feel grateful for our flat screens and our neutered lives. And all it does is give people time and rage. And you just see them all day. And then they go after people that are curious and inquisitive and honest and hardworking and have a family and they're enjoying their lives. They hate you for it.
Right. Get a real job. I always hear
that. Or just do something. It's like, I didn't get a job as a farmer, but apparently now I'm a farmer.
Right.
It's in a goat herder. It's like, no one gave me that job. Just go do it yourself. Just start.
And you're
a
father, husband, and what you like to say or what you say, people love to hear. What's wrong with that? So people hate that. People can't stand it. They hate it.
Hate it.
No, they can't stand that. And so really to stand up and be the man that you have, big shout out from me. I think it's awesome. There's not enough of us out there doing that and actually trying to get people to see the good that's out there and recognize the lies and the deceptions. They're everywhere. And once you start pointing them out, Michelle being a guy, those things, you have to start pointing them out. You got to really point them out.
Yeah, one thing I love about you guys is you guys aren't like sitting on your truths like smog. Some guys, like you were way ahead of me on a lot of things. Some guys are like, oh, where were you? And we were digging through the mess and blah, 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 Savanier. And it's like, why don't you feel warm when someone starts seeing stuff? Like you guys have that vibe where it's almost like being a better dad, where you see your son achieving something and you're like, yes, versus the bad dad feels envy and then tries to crush the child. And so that's fractal in every part of life. And I'm just glad that you guys are the type of guys that are like, oh, it's so great he's seeing it, versus I did it first. Where were you? And no one loved me. Savanier.
Yeah, Savanier. Yeah, that was one of the funnier things ever.
That's probably the most impressive thing you've done, is saw through that so fast and nailed it. So enough said on that.
I was first.
And I do that with a lot of people, and people don't get that that's my job. Like, I used to be a heckler at a Renaissance fair. I've been touring stand-up forever. I had a very wild upbringing. So it's like my biggest talent is to see algorithms and to see people's character pretty intensely. And so sometimes I can make calls on people early that others don't see, and then they get really mad at me, and then they see it, and then they apologize, and then they get mad again for the next time, and then they apologize. And it's like, I'm just, when you're 6, 8 months, a year ahead of schedule, you really do have that thing where people are constantly mad at you and then apologizing. Depends on where they are, So that's why I'm trying to really focus. My new policy is I don't comment on anyone on the internet. Like when someone's like, what do you think about Gary Savanier? I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
Because my natural instinct is to answer absolutely honestly. And then the yeast starts bubbling. And then before you know it, there's a fake feud that I enjoy, putting people down sometimes that deserve it. But in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot more to do in this world than just mock Savanier.
Yeah, no, and sometimes you get burned, and so I totally agree with you. Sometimes it's just you got to be yourself. You got to put out your content. If people like it, they watch it, and that's it. And for everybody else, if somebody asks me, "What do you think of Savanier?" I'll say, "Go watch his channel, enjoy his stuff." What are you gonna do?
Right, and that's the thing is some people don't realize this about me is they think that like sometimes I get burned or something. No, the problem is sometimes I'm like, no, I need 6 more months to grind them into dust.
Right.
and people are like, but Big Bear, we just like your streams. I'm like, it's not over yet until it's salted.
Right.
And so I'm staying away from that characteristic of myself where it's just unyielding. Where it's I will make it so every post they do, you'll see through it.
Right.
And I don't need to do that. It's not my, I'm a natural, Bravo in the social sexual hierarchy where I act not as alpha, but more like the enforcer of order. And if someone's out of order, when someone disrespects or when someone does something that isn't okay, I will punish them, until order is resumed, the beatings will continue. And frankly, the internet isn't the place for it. And it's way too easy to manipulate and warp it. And the yeast of the world can make it into anything they want. So now I'm just going to focus on very interesting things in writing and music and what the hell's going on with the moon.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And the fake moon landing. No, but I totally see your point. And yeah, if Nick Fuentes wants to come out and say you're not funny, he's gonna hear it from you.
Oh, I'll break down his entire family dynamic.
Right, I've heard that over the last couple of days. It's been great.
Yeah, because he was saying that my dad was part Jewish. Because what he would do is he'd be one guy on Twitter and another guy. He'd try and get his alt idiots that actually LARP like, we got to put Jews in the oven. It's like, what? So they tried to get me because my dad's his heritage is part Jewish. And so I was like, game on. Your dad looks like, Eugene Levy. And I just showed the pictures and I'm like, you started it. I'm just better at it.
Right.
So now I don't care. It's like, it's annoying. It's like, and then I'm just banning and dealing with people. And I'm like, it's fine. Just don't lie anymore, or there will be a beating.
There will be repercussions for your actions. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's living with his mommy.
Right.
He's always talking about her milkers.
He's on vacation with her right now, right?
Yeah, they're probably at sandals holding hands. Right? See, it's funny. It's not even like I'm being mean. It's like,
no, it's funny.
Yeah, people will be like, oh yeah, it's funny because it's a true exaggeration and now I see him differently.
Right. It's hilarious. Anybody who doesn't see the hilarity in it needs to be banned or needs to go watch something else. Because if you don't find that funny, then you don't have a good sense of humor. Period.
Let the dead bury the dead, my friend.
Right. Absolutely. Got a couple more super chats. So somebody saying I'm late. If I tell you of earthly things and you believe not, how can I tell you of heavenly things? Great little Bible quote there.
Right.
Says the best Owen stream was when he was ranting about Thor and Rogan. Yeah, we could talk a little bit about Toe Rogan. I love how you say that. Make sure you hit the toe up button.
Oh, Rogan's up, yeah.
Rogan's up. It's so classic. Thank you.
And the unit of measure, the Rogan.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's good.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro is exactly 3.5 metric Rogans, because Joe Rogan is mind-blowingly short in real life.
I meant to ask you that. I'm 6'2". What is the conversion rate to Rogan's? I don't know what it is.
You're 419 Rogans.
Okay.
That's a beautiful thing about a Rogan. You can just keep throwing numbers at it.
Okay,
it works in every case.
Good.
By the way, what I just did was more mathematically accurate than anything these guys have been doing.
Can't disagree with
that.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13.7 billion years ago, something exploded from nothing. And of course, the thermodynamic law of, what is it, where everything goes from order to chaos. It's the
entropy.
Law. Yeah, entropy, except for everything they're saying. It's a built-in paradox, so if you believe it, you deserve to join Space Force and just have your wiener blown off.
There you go. Somebody says, thanks for talking to Jaron. Logo's rising. Love what you three are doing. Much love. So that's Sober in the Valley. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate all the super chats.
You guys have a great community. You guys are saying some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's good people, and that's the other thing I like about all the Bears. They just all have great, smart things to say. It's one of the best audiences probably in all of YouTube. Easily.
I totally agree, and it's funny because the upside down mirror world is trying to make it the opposite. They're like, the Bears are just mindless drones with the cult of Owen.
Right.
I'm like, it couldn't be more opposite.
Right.
It like nothing is like I'm deprogramming cults, not starting a cult. I have no interest in starting a cult.
No.
I don't even like making decisions about dinner most of the time, let alone a cult.
Let's talk a little bit about where you'll be on November 14th and 15th. I'm pretty sure you'll be in Dallas, Texas. I'll be meeting you for the first time there. You're going to join the Flat Earth International Conference and do a stand-up comedy act, correct?
That's right. I'm excited. I'm very, very pumped.
Very excited.
You talk about liking our community. When you come there, you are going to experience something that I don't know if you've ever experienced before. I mean, people that go to your show, they love you, I'm sure. But the people at this conference, you can have any conversation, and they're awake and aware. They're fluoride free. They're healthy people. They know that we don't live on a spinning ball, and it's amazing. Today, we communicate on Messenger. This guy Ben, I think he's in Switzerland. Don't yell at me, Ben, if I'm wrong. But he's up there, and he's been saying he's so alone. His family, they're all ballers, and life is just horrible. But somebody made a Flat Earth Friend Finder app that shows you where other Flat Earthers are near you. And it's zoomtruth.com if anybody wants to go. He did it. He found a guy, not far from him. They had a phone conversation. It lasted 4 hours. And then he left me a voicemail, and he sounded like a new person. He was just like, he was telling me about this conversation, and they're going to meet up, and they're joining forces. And it's so great to be around like-minded people. That's one of the reasons we like you.
Yeah, and the thing is you don't even have to. One of my pet peeves is people saying, I don't agree with everything Owen Benjamin says. But in reality, no one agrees with everything.
Right.
The difference is, are you awake to, are you intentionally blinding yourself or not? And a huge amount of people have accepted their veils. And that's the difference, is have you accepted it or not? Have you looked at something and said, Caitlyn Jenner is a beautiful, sexy woman? If you've done that, and if you've reprimanded people for saying, that's a weird looking lady there, it's like, she is beautiful.
Right.
Like you are, I don't want to, I'm censoring my language out of respect to you guys, but I don't believe any words should be said, but it's out of respect. Hey guys, how's the goats? Good? Awesome. Love it. Thank you. One of our neighbors is in 4-H club, so she's doing our goats and like taking pictures and stuff because she's well, it doesn't matter. Is the house N-word versus the field N-word, where the house, is like, I'll say what I need to say to get those lollipops and them fancy pants, and then I'm a field N-word where I'm like just singing gospel and crushing, picking cotton, high-fiving, talking about the earth being flat. That's the difference, is have you accepted alive, you internalized your oppressors to get that lemonade, and those are the people I don't like. It's not people that are like, genuinely wondering, is the earth the spinning ball or not, and you can debate. It's the people that go, I can't hear this.
Right.
Those are the people that have to go. Not like go, but just in my life.
Yeah, no, I don't have time for them.
Go.
Yeah, go. I just don't have time for them. Ban them. Get rid of them. That's the way I can look at it, because I just can't stand it. And you know what? If we have different opinions, and I totally agree with you. You said it the other day. You said that if you believe the same thing as somebody or everything that they believe, well, then you got a problem. You're just a follower. Everybody should have something different. We all believe something different.
Yeah, I used to do that bit years ago. That's the thing, is most of these opinions I have not changed like for decades. It's just the pieces have changed, like my specific opinions. But I said, if you believe everything someone else says, you're in a cult.
Right.
And that I've always said that. It's like that because people do that to distance themselves socially from someone, but they're scared. What I keep seeing is someone is attacked for like free speech or guns or something like that, and they get scared for their own guns or their own speech, but they don't want to align socially with someone. So they go, I may not agree with Owen Benjamin on most things, but he's right about that. And I'm like, just agree. Of course you disagree. We have different favorite foods.
Right.
Like they're doing that just to virtue signal And there's just as much virtue signaling in right wing and left wing. It's two wings of the same bird. I'm now realizing that a lot of these binaries are hilarious jokes by Satan, where it's like red and blue make royal purple. It's kind of hysterical. But it's just set up so it's the endless fight, so no one actually talks about what's true, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't want people to believe what I believe. I don't want people to believe the things I say. I want them to listen, and if they want, go out and do their own research. All right, we got another break coming up. Guys, we'll be right back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw with Owen Benjamin and David Weiss. And
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Frank O'Connor, the Irish writer, tells in one of his books how, as a boy, he and his friends would make their way across the countryside. And when they came to an orchard wall that seemed too high, too doubtful to try, and too difficult to permit their voyage to continue, they took off their hats and tossed them over the wall. And then they had no choice but to follow them, This nation has tossed its cap over the wall of space, and we have no choice but to follow it.
Become the capital of a scientific, technological elite.
We choose to go to the moon.
The dream of conquering the vastness of space.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room in the White House.
Cooperation in space. 10 years ago, put a man on the moon.
And we're going there to stay. A manned mission to Mars.
Around the moon.
Missions to Mars.
Man to the moon, to Mars.
Survivors are urging the Senate to reauthorize their compensation fund. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the measure needs to be clean.
No games. Do not attach this bill to something else where it might get messed up, as it has gotten messed up in the past. Do not say that we're going to use this bill to help pass a debt ceiling or a budget or something else. That always leads to things getting messed up.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq both closed at new all-time highs today. I'm Ann Cates.
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
right, welcome back. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We got David Weiss. We've got Owen Benjamin. Are you guys frozen or? Is the
I'm
screen
good.
Frozen?
I'm good.
There we go. Sorry. That was on my screen. A couple more super chats. Dave Lamone said, a year ago I thought my 23-year-old son was lost. He now has seen the lies, found God and a career path, and best of all, he loves his dad and he loves Owen Benjamin. Thank you. So, Owen,
awesome.
More love for you. Somebody else says, what's your view on mud fossils? I don't know. Dave, you have an opinion on that yet?
Yeah, so our history isn't what we're told. There was some sort of mud flood. I don't know if it was worldwide. It was definitely in areas, and we have a lot to learn on that. And there's a lot of people doing good work on it. That's about all I have to say.
Yeah, our history is certainly not what we've been told, that's for sure. My favorite admitted Californian, small hat app maker, and favorite Nephilim all in stream together. What an awesome day. Love you guys. I'm going to Dallas. Hope to get to meet you guys. Owen, are you going both days? Are you going to be there for the conference, or are you just going to do your bit and hightail?
I'll hang out.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
That's going to be awesome.
Come see some of the presentations. Bob, Jaren's co-host on Globebusters, he wants to talk to you about radio signals, about shortwave radios, which you were having an issue with. He's an expert in that field and can explain it way better than I can.
I got a question. Why would they shoot nukes at the dome? If there's water or something up there, isn't that very, very dicey of a move?
Yeah, I think it's hella dicey, but I think that they did it and realized that they couldn't do any damage to it.
I think they were just sending, if they were doing anything, it was just bombs, because there are no nuclear bombs in
I agree, obviously, yeah.
Yes,
but I mean, that was the narrative that they were saying, that there's... I mean,
which is just
weapons.
ridiculous to think about. If there was nukes, that they'd be launching them in the sky and just subjecting. It's just ridiculous. Such nonsense.
That makes no sense.
Makes no sense at all. Yeah.
I had a nuclear physicist who wants to remain nameless, but pretty much admit to me that it's absolutely impossible to do a nuclear bomb.
Right. Yeah. The timing and everything I've heard about it is just impossible. We have Hector Bear says, somehow I only trust the guy in the white coat. So I need to get one. God damn it.
No, it literally works.
Right.
Like,
I know.
if you're wearing a white lab coat, you can just be like, well, according to the test results, you have to just, punch yourself in the wiener. It's just, and people are like, okay.
Right. Yeah. One of the funnier streams I ever saw you do is where you wore the white coat and just simply read from the Wikipedia of gravity and the and the Big Bang. It was classic, man. That's all you need to do is just hear somebody in a white coat reading it, and all of a sudden you realize how ridiculous it is. It's just so stupid. So bad.
So stupid.
So bad.
I was talking today about the moon landing, where it's more believable that I'm a penguin.
Yeah, I'd probably believe that first.
Tall penguin.
Just the vacuum situation is insane.
Right.
You have this thing that's paper mache. You guys all get it. We don't have to go through it, but it's just unbelievable.
I showed a video.
People believe that.
I showed a video yesterday on my stream, which just is somebody with a turkey baster creating gravity with just squeezing the top of it and then pulling water up. And to think that there's a much greater vacuum out there that doesn't suck off all the atmosphere, let alone the water. It would suck all the water off the Earth as well. But no, they say we're spinning.
It's insane.
Flying around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, but you never know because you were born here where you're flying at crazy speeds. That's what they tell us. Oh,
Trust us.
You're wearing
we have small hats.
Right, and white coats.
Yeah, it's literally what it is.
Both. Yeah, no. And, we've talked about, how NASA got started, obviously, with Operation Paperclip. You know all about that, right?
Yeah. That's pretty mind-blowing stuff. And von Braun wasn't just like a Nazi infantry guy, because I have compassion for those guys. If you're just in a country and they go to war, he was an SS
he was up there.
major.
Yep.
Like, he was in charge of a factory where a Jew or a gypsy, one of the undesirables, whatever they were doing. It wasn't, sorry, Weiss, but it wasn't just your people. But
it was
he
other
was
people.
monstrous. He was a monstrous guy. He would okay the killing of a civilian every week that didn't work hard enough. And
I think it was 5 a day.
SS is way different than German infantry. Those are people just like people that served in Iraq for a nefarious purpose.
Somebody said,
bad dude.
Somebody said, nice shirt, Jaren, and can they buy one? And unfortunately, NASA has claimed copyright on my shirt, so it's been taken down from Teespring. So sorry, I'll have to remake it with a new logo, I guess, or I'll just write NASA across the top. So it's coming soon, but NASA wasn't too happy about my shirt, showing everybody that they've gone nowhere since 1958. So unfortunately, if you're one of the 20 people that bought it, you've got a collector's edition right now.
Yeah,
it's going to be worth a lot of money. David, what else did you want to talk about? Anything else that I'm missing? Before we can get into the moon, we can take calls, whatever you want.
Anything.
Oh, Dave's frozen.
No, I'm listening. I keep freezing, but you can still hear me, I think. We were having a wild chat this afternoon about 9/11 and stuff. I don't know if you want to get into that, but there's so much to talk about. I'm speechless.
Right. Another.
Yeah, the building 6 that had that the entire inside was hollowed out. I wouldn't mind a little intel on that one. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, that one,
it's because the spire fell. The spire fell, and then created a fire on its way down, and cleared out the middle.
Right. The photos of the inside of that building go down to the basement. There's very little debris in there, and the outer walls of the building are up. That is crazy. I mean, all of 9/11 was crazy. So, what did it? I sent you on the website Stop Look Think on the 9/11 page. The top 2 videos are about directed energy and the comparison of the California fires and what happened on 9/11. And if you watch those 2 videos, you'll have a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it fun is we're not trying to assign blame. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. And I don't think anyone has the right to judge us for that, because people can spiral because they're assuming we're trying to be like, those guys did it, round them up. And that's not our interest at all. It's just like, what exists? Is there something that can erase matter? Like, that's fascinating.
9/11 and the California fires are just like the globe Earth. We know what didn't happen there. We're not sure what happened, but we know that those fires weren't forest fires rushing across California. We know that 2 airplanes didn't knock down 7 buildings in New York.
But the important thing to remember is that we've been deceived. That's what people need to know. That's the most important thing. It's not about who did it, how exactly they went about it. All those things could be debated forever. And that's what I think the biggest problem with the 9/11 movement was from the very beginning, is it became a battle between 9/11 truthers of saying, well, you think it was energy weapons and you think there was no planes and you think that there were planes. And then all of a sudden it was a fight between each other, and they didn't just release the information to everyone that, hey, we've been lied to. This is something you need to look into. I don't even think it's human at this point. It's so unbelievable that the main thing is you're lied to. That way, whatever they're trying to use that for you to willingly choose a sin is what you avoid. You were deceived, so don't kill 1 million people in Iraq. That's basically the moral of the story.
You with your positive message, I've been saying the kind of the same thing for a long time is don't put negative energy out there. Bush, as I said, didn't kill anyone. He convinced order followers to kill people.
It's wizardry.
Right.
Yeah, it's certainly.
They're literally doing this, and people are just like
following.
That's why it's called spelling and a cursive, curse word. It has to be in plain sight or it doesn't work. Because the person has to choose it. It's all about free will. The person has to choose to do it. They can't do it. They can't just do it.
There's a point where someone's waking up where they feel so helpless. They're like, oh my God, this is such a crazy world. I had no idea. And they feel powerless. But that's just before you realize that you have all the power.
All of it.
All of it. It just by saying no to them takes away their power. They can only do to you what you allow them to do to you. And when they put it out there, if you don't say no, you're saying yes. All you have to do is say no, do not consent, and take your power back. It's way easier than they make you think.
It's like a drug dealer at a concert. They're just like, weed, who wants it? Just don't engage. That's what I tell people all the time about all these sin things, where it's like, don't take the loan, don't watch the pornos, don't do the heroin. Like, just if you don't engage, they can't get you. And it's not your job to enforce because you can't. You're flawed. Vengeance is for the Lord. And a lot of times when people take it in their hands to seek out who did it to them and kill them all, guess what? The demonic energy that did it is already, they did another trick. Like the Rothschilds were not wearing yellow stars in Weimar, Germany. Right. They're out. You know, like they didn't get the right guys. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like let's say you got international bankers and you're like, oh, these small hats. They're getting the deli guys and committing sin. They're hurting innocent people because any demographic assignment of blame, whether it's white people, small hats, black people, whatever, it's always going to end bad. It's Lenin and Trotsky and those guys even had a phrase for it. It was called proof of the act, where to continue the cycle of oppression, you have to get someone to do something. And I'm actually very proud of a lot of American people for not doing more violence, you know, because a lot of these shootings and stuff are faked to make people think that that's what we do now. And I'm very, very glad and happy to see how many people are not going into churches or synagogues or school boards and just lighting it up, because that's when. Go ahead.
Right. I think people don't do that. They're trying to condition us to think that's what people do.
Right.
So,
they don't do that.
Yeah. People don't do those things. So that's what they're doing. It's pre-programming us to react a certain way. People never used to laugh at somebody when they get hit in the head with a 2x4 until the Three Stooges showed them that when someone gets hit in the head with a 2x4, it's funny. And now you laugh.
All hats, by the way, Weiss. All the Stooges.
All three of them.
All Three Stooges. Right.
You look like you could be one of them, actually, Dave, now that I'm looking at you. You could have fit right in there.
Thank you.
By the way,
who else has a small hat is the Pope.
Yeah, very small hat. Yep.
What's up with small hats? The Jesuits wear small hats.
Yeah.
I love that you pointed out their wizardry is so good that they can wear wizard outfits right in front of us and we don't even notice.
And carry a scepter.
That's what makes it high-level wizardry, is they do it right in front of you. You know,
the Pope is wearing a ultimate wizard's costume.
He has a step. He could be in Lord of the Rings right now.
Without a costume change.
He has a boner hat with a small hat and a robe and a staff.
And a staff.
And people are just like, oh, that's not a wizard.
Right. Bow down to him. They kneel at his feet. They kiss his ring. Yeah, exactly. Makes a lot of sense.
You think he changes his name? You know, it's so wizardry.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the whole name change thing. And people just call him the new name. Just you get a new name. You get a new gown, a new hat. It says in
the Bible not to call another man father. And people are like, hey, father. And he's like, ha, 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 ha.
Oh, man, I grew up Catholic. So did you, right?
Me too.
Yeah. So
Me too. I still like a lot of Catholics, and I like that they've maintained a lot of the tradition and this. But there's a lot of stuff in there where I'm like, it literally says don't call him father, but, you know, It's all good.
No,
got red shoes on.
Doesn't the Bible also tell you don't grab trees of pine and take them down and put them into your house and don't add ornaments to them? And then they make that Jesus' birthday. They're like, go get a tree and put it in your house and add ornaments to it.
It literally says don't act like the pagans, and then pretty much describes Christmas.
Right.
Don't like decorate it with silver and gold.
Right.
It's
and
just
and then they change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, you know, in worship of the sun. It's just it's so sad.
It's right there.
It's right there in front of you. People
don't
see it.
But the funny thing is you can still be a great Christian with a tree and Sunday. It's
right.
It's your intention. It's like that's demonic trickery. That's just the devil's a gamma male. He's kind of just a little prick. He's just like, ha, look at him, and it's just like, shut up. They're making him clip their own wieners.
Oh man, the deceptions are so deep. Yeah, thanks, devil. Appreciate that.
Such a little prick. He's like, I like this role. It's so funny watching you be a dick. Shut up, devil.
I think the other thing that's funny that you've been talking about lately is definitely trolling boomers. I think you're the same age as me. Are you 39?
39.
Yeah, I'm the same age. David, however, is a boomer. But he doesn't believe we went to the moon.
He's Gen X.
So I don't know if he doesn't believe we went to the moon. I don't know if he's necessarily a boomer. I think of a boomer as somebody who definitely thinks we went to the moon.
Oh, no. The boomer thinks he went to the moon.
Right.
Like,
My birthday.
We went to the moon. We went to the
I
moon.
went to Woodstock, and I didn't have acid where I personally went to the moon.
We've
What
got
did
an
you do, millennial?
ISS. We've got an ISS in space. Come on.
Do you think it's chilly in any way that my birthday is tomorrow?
Oh, wow.
The anniversary of the
Man,
moon landing.
You're deep state.
Uh-oh.
Dude, like
We-
Bill
we
Whittle.
planned this.
Bill Whittle is the stereotypical boomer. Like Bill Whittle is the guy that's like, we had grit. We went to the moon with a pencil and a piece of paper. What have you done, millennial? And you're like, you're I don't know. I'm not starting anything. Nothing against Bill Whittle. But it's terrible.
It is bad. It is bad.
He would have said that it was because of grit. It's
That
like,
they
you
went
sure
to
it's
the moon?
not lies?
It's because of grit and intelligence and able to do it with a computer. You know, we have more memory in the iPhone. You know, the iPhone has more memory. This little stick right here has more memory than the entire NASA facility in 1969. Not just the crap that went to the moon. The crap that went to the moon.
They pivoted on that. They said, well, it was done by they literally made a movie out of it.
A
A
lady.
black woman did all the math.
Right. On
And everyone's
paper.
like,
pen and paper.
That checks out because we're insane.
Right.
And that's nothing against blacks or women. It's just there's no what? It's just
Nothing
the best
against no.
Like there's a black woman who did the best math anyone's ever seen. The hats of small are much better at math. I'll give you guys that. It's like, and then they destroyed it for no reason, and we can't go back. But Bill Whittle says we got grit. Just insane. The baby boomers are awful.
It's too expensive to build it back up again.
Too painful is what Don
Too
Pettit
painful.
said.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Painful.
sense.
Not even expensive. He used emotional passive aggression
Right.
to get away. He's like, it's just too painful.
It'd be
like,
like
wow,
asking,
what about all the deaths you caused from it?
Right.
Very painful. Not painful.
very painful. It'd be like asking somebody to build a Game Boy again and them saying, well, we had that technology, but we threw it away and it's too painful to bring it back. It's too painful.
Yeah. And,
Come on.
and so
give me a
how'd
break.
you build it? We burned it.
Right.
Well, what's the proof you even played a game? Didn't you record all of it?
Lost it.
Burned it. Lost it. Gone.
They recorded
Like,
it over, Owen. You know, you
we
just
did
record
sell
over.
one tape to an intern for $219.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they bought it from a yard sale.
Right.
And so now, just to help all of us, they're going to recreate it in a Hollywood CGI factory.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I guess that intern, what did he just keep it and he didn't mention to anybody he had it during all the talks of the Lost Moon tapes? He just kept quiet? Was it in his
No,
basement?
because
He didn't see it?
interns, this is a story. I don't do sarcasm, so I have to preface by saying this is what they're saying.
Okay.
Interns always had, in the 70s, always have an extra $217 laying around, which in modern money would be like $1,200, just to buy a random tape at a random yard sale and then sit on it for like 30, 40 years. That's what they're saying. And
then
people are like, checks out.
Right. And then sell it right at the anniversary here.
Yeah, so
Unbelievable.
it could be worth a few $1 million. If that was real, it would be worth $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Isn't that the number of Jews that died in the Holocaust?
No, it's 6.
No, it was 9. It was somewhere between 9 gay guys rollerblading and 1 billion.
We have somebody here, Ben Schwagel says, I'm not clear on the whole nukes don't exist idea. Can you explain what's going on with that and what they are using instead? They're using big bombs.
Big bombs.
Big bombs.
Yeah, and CGI. If you look at the
that old stuff
the
with the
building
house.
that blew up and the trees that bent backwards, it's
Right.
claymation. You said it today.
Miniatures.
Never-ending story,
It's a miniature model. Yeah, it's all complete and utter nonsense.
But people just had no idea at the time because they were new to TV. They just didn't understand that things could be faked, man. If you have a guy in an army uniform who stood on a tape and said, hello, children, we're about to learn about the nukes, everybody had to believe it. You know, it was on TV.
Yeah, it was like Fievel Goes West. That whole thing where it's like, you know, you have Spielberg who has characters as mice who are Jewish. I'm not going to get into it, but he has the puppeteer being like, "Hey, cowboy, move out west." He shows you what he's doing,
right?
And as he's doing it in real life, it's fascinating. All right.
The other thing is, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say real quick to the person that asked about the no nukes. Go look up Crow 777.
Oh yeah.
No nukes. He did a couple great shows on it, and if you just listen to that an hour or two, you'll know there's no nukes.
Yeah, that guy breaks it down to the point where, like, when I was listening to Crow, and I was almost doing it, I was like, but Crow, and by the end I'm like, no nukes.
Right.
Hey, oh, and you know
follow that up with another guy did an interview about. He wrote the book about Hiroshima and Nagasaki and how the media blackout in America for 3 months and how they were reporting there was firebombs and all kinds of fascinating stuff. So they're both on YouTube. I can't remember what that one's called, but definitely check out. It looks like a mainstream interview with an author who is basically just talking about, I don't think he realizes there's no nukes, but he's just talking about how Japan surrendered because 1.5 million Russians invaded Manchuria. It had nothing to do with the nukes. He wasn't, fully woke to the nuke question, the NQ, but he was, dancing around it.
I know that you were binge listening to Crow for a while after our interview. Did you know his co-host Jason Lindgren is going to be presenting at the Flat Earth Conference that you're coming to?
Sweet. Is Crow coming or no?
I don't know. He might make a video appearance. I'm not sure what they have planned, but Crow isn't coming. He's more of a homebody.
He's coming as a hologram. Yeah, that's one thing about a lot of guys like us is it's real. Like once you start seeing stuff, you're like, I'm not leaving my farm, guys.
Right. Gets a little scary to jump on that plane.
Dude, I know, but you had a great point, Weiss, where I was like kind of spiraling about flying, and you're like, now that you know the Earth isn't spinning, it's way safer.
Way safer. Dude, I used to be afraid of flying. I used to be afraid of flying until I became a flat earther, jumped on a plane. We were on the way there. My wife was like, are you nervous yet? I'm like, no, for some reason, no. Jumped on the plane, wasn't nervous. The plane took off. I'm like, oh, shit. When you're thinking you're on a spinning ball and upside down and perpendicular, you're scared shitless. But after I became a flat earther, now flying's easy. So,
dude, there hasn't been a crash in like 100 million flights. Knock on wood, obviously.
Right.
Thank you, God. But it's so crazy safe that I almost think they have some Tesla shit in there.
Well, it's all run by computers. I used to think it was pilots actually up there at the wheels, steering along. But no, all that stuff is just programmed into computers.
They're just listening to Crow up there, like, you guys. I get pilots all the time being like, buddy, I think it's flat.
Right.
But they can't, talk about it, yeah.
No, they just...
Go ahead, Dave. Owen, have you looked into jumbo jets don't use fuel?
Oh, man.
No.
It's amazing.
It's
a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. Next time you're on an airplane, listen to the engine start. Listen from the time they started till the time you take off and go at altitude. It's an electric engine. Okay, I think they're pulling free energy out of the air. They may use a little bit of fuel for something, but go to the airport. You don't see them hooking up fuel. You don't smell fuel. If you're pumping in, a tanker truck of fuel into that thing, it's pushing out all of that air. That where's that smelly air going? You never smell fuel at a big airport.
People have done some crazy work on that, but it's really when you just look at like one of those Shell gas trucks that you see driving by on the freeway. To fill up an airplane would take I forgot if it's 11 or 12 of those. And when you start thinking about that, you're like, wait a second. I've seen those wings. They're very thin. It's just a crazy topic. It's definitely a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I at this point, it could be just about anything in that world because Bernoulli's principle doesn't make as much sense as it once did. So,
yeah, who knows, huh?
It has to do with the harmonics of the engine. When I was a kid, they talked about a military invention called a ramjet that it gets up to speed and it goes so fast that the air comes in and then turns into fuel, expands and turns into fuel, and they don't need fuel. And then that story disappeared. Never hear about it anymore.
So true.
Yeah.
A couple more. We got crowdfunding for Jaron Whitecoat. Thank you very much for that $2. I guess I'm going to have enough money at the end of the stream. Thanks, Big Bear. I'll be able to get myself a white coat.
Anytime.
Jaron, you're an inspiration. Thank you for all you do. You're welcome. Hi, Jaron. Hi, Dave. Owen, you're doing great, kid. Grow food. Talk to your neighbors. Follow the golden rule. Peace from Washington. Love you guys. Carry the torch. That says it all, right? I mean, that's the things you talk about. Grow your own food. Build your wall. Bring it back home. Care about your family. Do what's right. Don't tell lies. And that's what I get told all the time. Jaron, you're lying. You're telling lies when you talk about flat Earth. It's like, dude, these are my real damn opinions. Get over it. It's just the way it is. It's just what I think. It's just what I believe. Get over it.
My mom always said that to me. Like if I'd be in a bad mood or something, she'd be like, "Have you had enough water?" She was always tend your garden.
Right.
She always was like that. She was like, "They can't take that from you. Your own garden."
Yeah.
Hey, Owen, can you stay with us for one more segment, our last segment? Maybe take a few phone calls.
I'm at 6%, but I'll go until I die.
All right.
Because I'm in a garden. There's no free energy here, so I'll go for 6% more.
Okay.
Until you die, we appreciate it. Why are we at a break now? Almost.
We are coming up to break. While we have that last minute, let the Small Hat show his new feature on the app.
Show the app feature.
We have the compass. Is that the compass? There's the compass. So when you turn it, it'll show you where you're looking. And then the other one is I have the frequently asked questions button. If I could hit it, I can't. There it goes.
There you go.
And you have your top questions, and when you click one of them, it takes you right to videos that have the answer. That's the Flatter Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
Hear everything good about the Small Hat and none of the bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll take it.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Owen Benjamin, Durf, myself, Small Hats. Don't go anywhere.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio, or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Jacob Frank Leibovich is the mastermind behind a global network of satanic cults. He taught that the creator God was evil. Jacob Frank proclaimed himself as the true Messiah. He vowed never to tell the truth. He rejected every moral law and declared that the only way to a new society was through the total destruction of civilization. Murder, rape, incest, and the drinking of blood were perfectly acceptable actions and rituals. His followers established the Marxist system and have infiltrated Islam and Judaism. He was the Messiah of the Illuminati.
EnigmaTV.com.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We got a few more minutes with Owen Benjamin before his 6% becomes 5%, becomes 3%.
I'm now at 4%.
4% now. Owen, before you get kicked off, where can people find you? Talk a little bit about Unauthorized TV, how they can support you, because I think we skipped all that.
Unauthorized.tv is a new network that Vox Day and myself created that is pretty solid. It's great. It's got a homesteading channel. It has a survival channel. It has Barcelona Life. It has a medieval professor. There's a brand new documentary that we're making called The Birth of Bane. Chuck Dixon, who created Bane, is talking about where Bane came from. And my next special, You're Doing Great, Kid, is going to be an unauthorized production. So there's that. And then my YouTube channel, subscribe if you want, or not. I don't really care. And then P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335 if you want to send a super chat, because I've been demonetized on everything. I'm kicked off PayPal. I'm kicked off Twitter. I'm kicked off everything because they didn't know I had the jacket. I'm at 2%, so let's do something.
All right. If they would have known, we would have known. But yeah, You're Doing Great, Kid. You said people can email you if they're interested in getting on the early list for that too, right?
Yeah, You're Doing Great, Kid at gmail.com.
Right. So you're going to be doing basically a tour, right? A couple different cities.
Yeah, definitely Georgia and Washington State, and I want to add a couple more cities depending on if we can afford it.
Very cool. Go ahead, Dave.
So a question for your set for the Flat Earth Conference. When do you start writing those jokes? On the plane ride over, or are you compiling them now?
Well, I have 7 hours of comedy, but I will do a lot of, if people want to check out my type of comedy, I have several specials on my youtube.com/Owen Benjamin Comedy. One's called Conspiracy Queries. I think your audience will enjoy that one.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Definitely. Check that out.
He had a great quote. He is the fish of comedy, where he never repeats a show.
Never.
Oh yeah, because they're
people follow me around and sell
PHISH.
Right.
Yeah, people follow me on tour and sell grilled cheese in the parking lot in Hacky Sack.
Do people have their 100 Owen pin on? I've been to 100 Owen shows.
I swear to God, yes. Not a pin, but that type of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Even when I was doing clubs before I got blackballed, people would come to all 6 shows because they wanted to see how things would change and wanted to see how I would react to the crowds. I would have a set, but I never just hit play. I always thought that was awful.
What I think is so great too is when you take questions. Man, that's so much more than any other comedian does. No comedian stands up there and lets people ask them questions. It can be spur on the moment just like that. I mean, their stuff is written. But you are just as great when people are asking questions. So I hope you allow that a little bit at the
of course, that just comes from simply not being a liar.
Right.
Wait till you see that I can take song requests and what I do on the stream. If you see it in front of 1,000 people, it's gonna blow your mind. And like here, it's not as cool because I just look insane sometimes. But like, if someone's like, play my girl's favorite song and it's about blah blah blah, I can get that until it's a sing along.
The keyboard will be there? The keyboard will be in it?
What?
You're going to bring the keyboard?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm going to write you guys your own song.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, man,
come on,
so awesome.
I'm a pro, bro. I work on this stuff all day.
That's so awesome.
I'm at 1%, so if I get kicked off, I got sucked into a vortex.
All right.
Why don't we say goodbye? We're looking forward to seeing you then and your streams in between now and then. And you're doing great, kid.
Yeah, you guys are doing great, kid, too.
Yeah,
all right, take it easy, everybody.
Hey, thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Owen.
Thanks, Owen. All right. Oh, now we got... Oh, that's a problem. All right, let me switch screens real quick, Dave, while we just messed up my whole stream there. Let's fix this.
What happened?
Oh, no, because you became a big picture.
Oh,
but
great.
Which is unfortunate for everyone.
Let's take some calls.
Okay, let me fix this real quick because maybe we don't need to do video the rest of the way.
We can take the video off. You ready?
Yeah, let's take calls. So if you guys have questions for Dave or I or just want to talk, go ahead and call in. There's a lot of people already lined up, but 213-233-3998. Be quick, be to the point, or Dave will text me to dump you. And,
do you want to do one question and one question only?
Let's do one question only.
So if someone says, hey, how you doing? That's it. You hang up on them. Tell them you're fine. You hang up.
Man, it'd be so much better if you had control of this board.
I wish. I wish. One question, no matter what it is, one question and one question only.
We're going to try. The
This is
508
an old Howard Stern bit, by the way.
Okay, 508 area code. You're on with Journalism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Does that count?
Does that count?
Nope, that's a question. Done. Yes, it counts. Next caller.
Okay, I can't do that just because he's been on hold for 93 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and let him keep
damn
going.
it.
I'm not good at that, Dave. I'm just not an asshole.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead,
Go
sir.
ahead. Calling me an
Okay,
asshole.
so essentially, if this changes the world or changes everything, if it's true, right, then there still needs to be a governing body of rules on the other end. And natural law seems to be the rules set by the creator, if you want to give it another name. Natural law is what Mark Passio talks quite a bit about, and I know David Weiss must listen to him if he's talking about order followers. There's really only one guy on the internet who talks about order followers, Mark Passio, who hates flat Earth for a lot of good reasons, even though I love it. I think he takes the correct position in hating flat Earth for specific reasons, even though he agrees with a lot of what you guys talk about. I think it would bridge the gap. Owen can bridge the gap between natural law and those who disseminate it, and a lot of the people who teach flat Earth and discuss the occult teachings. But if flat Earth does change everything, the knowledge of natural law is so imperative on the other side of things. And just real quick, what natural law is to explain what rights are and what rights are not. And just on the basis of NASA, whoever believes in NASA is good, bad, lying, or whatever, NASA does not have the right to tax anybody, to collect tax money on anyone's behalf to do what they're doing. So even if you believe what NASA is doing is right, good, or true, which I don't, but they don't have the right to do it.
All right, thanks for the call. I would agree with you on that. They don't have a right to do it. They don't have a right to lie to people, but people have to pay their taxes according to the rules, and that's what they do, and then NASA gets their cut. So, but I totally agree with you that people need to take a stand for what's right, and the taxes nowadays are ridiculous, but everyone feels it's their responsibility to pay taxes despite the amount that we're supposed to pay. Let's go to the 208, and we'll now stick to the rules David has said. Dave, are you still there? I turned off our videos because you turned off yours. 208.
One question and one question only.
You're on with Journalism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, did you see the story that NASA admitted to getting hacked last year?
Yeah, I think you mean that somebody hacked and was able to control the ISS or something like that?
No, I was talking about the Raspberry Pi at JPL.
No.
That they stole supposedly 500 megabytes worth of data about the Mars mission.
Did they ever post it? Did it go to like Pastebin or something?
Oh yeah, it's all over. I first saw it on CNET.com, but yeah, 3 weeks ago they posted it, and they admitted that last year they got hacked by a simple Raspberry Pi.
Wow. And that stuff you said is 3 weeks old? Because I remember looking through a whole wealth of information and links and things, but that was probably a year ago. So this is something fairly new?
Yeah, this just came out just last month.
Oh, no, I have to check that out. I haven't seen that. Dave, you?
I have not at all.
All right, we will check it out. Thank you so much for the call. We'll look into that. Let's go to the next caller, 910. You're on with Journalism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
North Carolina, Jake. So I have a couple things, and
one thing tonight.
If you guys want to talk about, okay, one thing tonight. So I remember 9/11 where I was working at a grocery store, and I was ordering food. And so what happened was I'm ordering the food, and all of a sudden it just stops. The little machine you hold in your hand, towels on, whatever you want to call it. So I'm holding that machine in my hand, it stops. I walk over, hey, the machine stopped. And everybody's looking at the TV. So apparently everything runs through that World Trade Center, which is why it's called that, even every little grocery item. And I was wondering to myself, isn't there a backup system? Why did we have to wait a day later? You understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, I didn't know that happened. During 9/11, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So
hey,
I don't know.
Well,
go ahead, Dave. You have something to say? Oh, sorry about that.
No. I wanted to bring up something. Everyone's talking about the fake. It is fake. The 400,000 people storming Area 51. Have we discussed that yet?
No.
Did I freeze? So have you seen the story, Jaron?
No, I don't think so.
So the story, the mainstream media is running with it that 400,000 people are going to storm Area 51 and demand the truth. I believe it's scheduled for September. And I just want to say that I think it's a complete and total hoax. I don't think there's 4 people that are planning on doing it. And it's basically just to push the false dichotomy of, okay, we admit it, there's aliens, and they want to see if that floats over the world. If they fake this thing, hoax it, and admit there's some sort of aliens, that sets them up for their fake alien invasion.
Well, Werner von Braun said it was the last card, and I think
so.
Yeah, totally.
This is the perfect way to do it. Like if they could hoax that easier than hoaxing a school shooting.
Absolutely, and then everybody will be able to come to my channel, your channel, Dave, and say, "See, told you. How could the Earth be flat? Look at all these aliens. They came."
And then I predict a year to the day later, the fake alien invasion happens. Just like Chernobyl, a year to the day after the China syndrome came out.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for, by the way, for everyone for the super chats. Taco Mahooligan sent a super chat. Appreciate that so much. Somebody says, are you Dearth Bear? I don't know what you are.
I am deep inside the rabbit hole, Bear.
Okay. Didn't know. Somebody says
verified. I am verified.
Oh, you're verified. About Sunday and Christmas, Mark 7:7-9. Somebody's giving a Bible quote there. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate the super chats. Thank you, Owen, for coming aboard. That was fun, Dave.
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so great to talk truth with, with Owen. First time I've got to talk to him. He's just a good guy. So, I mean, despite what you might hear from other people, a lot of people don't like him. And, ban him. Get rid of him. If you don't like it, don't watch, period.
I don't see how people some flat earther, I forget who it was, said, I don't trust Owen. You know, they're just like a non-trusting person. He's a shill, and he's gonna do something at the conference. I'm like, how could you even fathom that?
Yeah, not if you've watched him. I mean, the only way I could say somebody might think that is if they haven't watched him. If you haven't watched him and you just heard people talk about him and you say, okay, who is he? Oh, he's a comedian. Okay, maybe I could see it then. But if you've watched any of his streams and you've just heard him talk, the guy can sit there in front of a keyboard and just talk for 3 hours and talk about truth and talk about how to live your life better and how to be a better person and how to see deception and how to see lies. When you hear all that, you can't think that way. I mean, there's just no possible way. So I would say whoever says that simply hasn't watched him. And I understand that. There's not a lot of time. People don't have a lot of time to watch all the different stuff that's out there that's good. You have to really support what you like, stick to what you like, try a little bit once a week. With Owen, it's a little tough because some of his streams are so long. But, I go for a walk every morning or a bike ride, and it's just he's always on for some reason. He's always on live at that time. And you know what? I only may catch, 45 minutes of his 3-hour stream. But every time I listen to him, I gain something from it. And that's the people that I start listening to is when you can listen to that, when you can just tune somebody in and for 45 minutes you learn something, that's the kind of people you have to support. That's the kind of people I can't wait to meet him. Happy he's coming to the conference. Happy he'll be doing his show. And I had no idea he'll be bringing his keyboard. I'm stoked about that.
I assumed we were getting him a keyboard, that he wasn't actually dragging his along. But
I don't know. People in that line, maybe they do that. Let's go to the next call on the 905. We know who this is. Got to keep it short. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night.
One question and one question only.
I love you guys. I love Owen too. The bird on Mars. Do you guys know about the bird on Mars?
I just know about mushrooms, and I know about fake remote control cars.
And a squirrel.
Well, they found a bird flying, like in the on a Mars picture.
Jeez. They love to put that stuff out there.
But
a Martian bird.
I told all my friends. A Devon Island bird, but a bird nonetheless. So now they're already claiming that there's alien birds on Mars.
Oh boy. Well, of course. I mean, if there's water there, there has to be
perfect sense.
There has to be water there, so there's birds there. If there's water, there's birds and animals and beings
and worms.
Worms, definitely worms, and that's where the mushrooms came from. Is from the fungus growing from the. You have to have moist conditions to have mushrooms, Dave. So if you have mushrooms on Mars, you have to have water on Mars. I don't know if you knew.
Mark Sargent just confirmed the bird on the Mars photo.
Mark Sargent confirmed it?
Yeah, he just did. It's Mark Sargent confirmed. It's Sargent-ified.
I got to check this out. I got to search it right now. Real quick, just a reminder to everyone, join us at FEIC 2019. You can go to FE2019.com, register there November 14th and 15th. That'll be in Dallas, Texas. I'll be there. Dave will be there. Paige will be there, right? Can't miss
That's
Paige.
true.
Will she be speaking?
She's doing a full presentation with Karen B.
I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. So
Yeah,
did she just hear about that for the first time?
I just heard about it for the first time.
Okay, good. Second answer, Dave.
Hey, there you go.
Let me see. Birds on Mars. I have to look this real quick. All right, let's go to the phones. Whoops, I lost my page. Here we go. All right, let's go to the 612 area code. You're on with Jeranism on Raw. Who's this? What's your one question or comment or whatever?
Oh, wow. Hey, guys, this is Wes, Flat Earth News Talk. How you guys doing?
Wes,
that's not what I'm going to say. I won't say it. All right, good. Anyhow, I had one question for Jaron. I have not been keeping up on it, but when you sent off the hard drive to NASA, did you ever get it back?
Yeah, I did. There was just nothing on it. A bunch of views. Well, there was views of the ISS, but who's to say when those views are from? There was a couple astronaut shots, but what should have been a 6.5 hour tape turned out to be just a few. And they told me that from the very beginning, right? They started and said, "Oh, well, there's only going to be because it was a Russian thing. There was no U.S. cameras on it. Sometimes they're going to be out of frame. Sometimes they're not going to be on the camera." And that's basically what I got was a bunch of, and of course, usually they should have head cam footage, right? They didn't have any of the head cam footage. It was basically all just a ruse, and it took them basically 6 or 7 months to get it back to me. So ridiculous. But
$1,000.
I do a video, and then there's a video on my channel where I discuss it, and then I give a link to everything that I got. There's a link to a archive.org post that I made that has all the footage that I got is uploaded for anyone to check out. Just so you know, so it is possible for you to go see
I'll
stuff.
check that out. I've been so out of Flat Earth for so long. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
All right,
Thanks
take it
for the
easy.
call.
Thanks for the call. I'm looking. It's just so ridiculous, Dave. I'm looking at this so-called bird on Mars.
I'm looking at it too. It's not a bird.
No, it's not a bird.
Spaceship.
Yeah, it's a craft. It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's bullshit. Let's go to the 818. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey guys, Jeff from LA. What's up?
What's up, Jeff?
How you guys doing? You guys all good?
We're all good. We got a super chat from FE News who says Mick West has debunked the bird on Mars. Thank goodness for metabunk.org. I don't know what we'd do without it, Dave. I don't know.
I think we just debunked it.
Right, I think we did too. That's how easy it is to run that website, man. I wish I was Mick West. How easy it would be just to debunk everything.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
How easy would that be? What if your job was that, Dave? Just to debunk anything anybody says. In fact, that's who Baller Dave is.
That is true.
Isn't it easy to be Baller Dave?
It's super easy.
Right. So imagine if you had to do that for a living. Just make a website where no matter what anybody says, this is an alien ship. You just go on there and say, no, it's not. 9/11 was an inside job. No, it's not. That's all you got to do. It's very easy. Sorry, caller. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
It's all right. Didn't he change some measurement again, that guy? He changed something.
Yeah, he put on his little calculator now. It's not applicable for large distances over water, which is exactly where all flat earthers are doing their experiments and tests, because that's what's supposedly supposed to be flat is the damn water. And if you now have a calculator that says, oh, well, it doesn't count if you're looking over long distances over water. It's hilarious. It's just the life of being a glober is so easy. It just does, if you see mirror flashes from 19 miles, you just say, oh, well, you're actually seeing the mirror flash bend through the curved atmosphere around the curved water. So simple to be that. It's like Dave said.
I just tell them one thing because I just tell them one thing because I'm getting tired of them. I just say, guys, water is always freaking level.
Right,
Get
easy.
freaking over it, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've had a couple people say that recently. It's like,
no, it's not. The Earth is just so large you can't notice the curvature. Next.
Oh boy, see Baller Dave when he shows up. Don't you want to just punch him in the face? Because it's so easy. It's so easy for him to do. And again, it's the same as if Dave said he was a doctor and we all just said, yep, I believe him. Okay, great. And we move on. It's so easy to believe lies. And it's very difficult to find truth. They've made it that way. What a effective tool for keeping people asleep is to make it very easy to accept lies and very difficult to find truth. It's the way they do it. All right, what's your question, comment for today?
I just wanted to ask you guys, like, I was always thinking about Dr. Judy Wood because I started watching her speeches like a while back, like 7 years ago, 8 years, like 7, yeah. And I always wondered why, like, no one ever had her on their show, like, especially that was back in my Alex Jones days, you know? And Alex Jones never had her on, you know?
Right.
Never.
She's been on a lot of shows.
Like,
She's been on Veritas Radio. She's been on a bunch of shows. The one thing I want to say about Dr. Judy Woods, which will really get the trolls going wild because they hate that more than the other people with small hats are hated, is you have to read her book.
Read the
book. Not hear about somebody else that read it or skim it. You have to read the entire book, and then you can make your opinion on her.
I agree. Read the book. Find somebody who has it. If you don't have it,
it's on Amazon. It's $45. Where Did the Towers Go by Dr. Judy Wood.
Right. It's excellent. Once you read that, then you can make up your own mind about it, and that's how it should be with everything. Let's go to the 206. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, it's a great Baldini in Seattle.
What's up, Baldini?
Hey, so a friend of Jason Lindgren's and Crow 777.
Awesome.
Been a recurring guest on their show. So just wanted to let you guys know that, I'm delighted that you're having had Owen on your show. I'm delighted he came. I know Crow is trying to, reach out and build bridges. I heard his stream with you. Was it last week?
Yeah, a few weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks back, yeah. I love that you guys are building bridges. I know that Jason is going to planning on being at the Shindig there in Dallas coming up. So I'm glad you guys are kind of hanging out and doing that. So just want to give you guys some encouragement. I love that everybody's kind of talking to each other now and reaching out. I think that's terrific. So you guys keep that up.
Hey, thanks so much, Baldini. Man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I wish there was more calls like that. That was awesome. That's what we want to
do. Did you catch his interview on Crow?
Which one was that?
The great Baldini. He talked about a lot of stuff. It was fairly recent.
I'll have to go back and check it. But no, whenever they have guests on, they have the best guys. And anybody talking truth, I'm all about bring them on the show if they want to talk. And again, just like Owen said, it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything I say. I certainly do not agree with everything you say. So it's just talking truth. It's people who are searching for truth, and I'm all for that. Let's see if we can get another call in. 240. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Oh, gosh. Jaron, this is Keith. How you doing, bud? This is from Dark News Network.
Hey, what's going on? How are you? Oh, yeah, we were supposed to have you on today.
Oh, howdy. Sorry, you interrupted me. I got some massage, so I'm in trouble.
You want to do a show next week and talk fluoride?
Yeah, well, I know you don't have time to get into all that, but yeah.
No, not today,
well, first off, I never really got to say thank you just for doing what you guys do, especially with stepping in and filling up the spot from Globebusters. That was pretty awesome of you, and I really like how you're carrying the torch on that. So appreciate you filling that in, man.
Hey, thanks, appreciate that.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk fluoride real quick, there's one point that I wanted to kind of make on it.
Well, we don't have time this week because we only got about 2 minutes left before the 1 minute left. So we will, if you want to call in next week, we can wait for your call. I have your area code now down, 240, writing that down. So if you call next week, we can discuss that because that's a good topic. David and I are both on board with that 100%. We both distill our water and have gotten fluoride removed from our lives, right, Dave?
You more than me, actually.
You still haven't bought your little canister to brush your teeth with?
Not the shower one either.
Oh. No, I haven't gotten the showered filter yet. So I can't say I've done that. I still shower in the fluoride in drenched water. So I do appreciate everyone's super chats. Thank you so much. This has been probably the best super chat I've ever had. So thank you very much to Owen Benjamin for joining. I know it's all because of him, and people love him, and so do we. He's a truther, just like us, and you know, whether you like that name or not, what it basically means is that you're not going to stand by and let people be lied to anymore, and you're just simply going to get on your channel and speak the truth. And if people want to listen, they can, and if they hate it, then they can block you. And if we don't like the way that you're commenting or you don't like us, then you're going to be banned for life. I hope all the moderators did that. Dave, any final words, or are we good now?
That's it. The Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app to find Flat Earth truth.
There you go. Peace, guys.